Welcome to the We Are Pools podcast. I have a very exciting guest today, coming all the way from Tampa, Florida. Good friend Austin Lacy of Beach Boy Pools. Man, how are you doing, man?
I'm doing great, Ralph. Thank you for having me.
Dude, thanks for stopping by, man. I know you did quite some traveling to, head over to California, man. What was the trip like, man? Was everything good with the flight and everything?
Yeah, man, this trip was one of those trips that definitely needed to happen in life. Came out to meet you and Justin Bowie, two guys that I look up to for inspiration big time. And you have someone not only been an inspiration but a friend, reaching out for help here and there and helping me get educated on things and calling you for advice and or reaching out on Instagram and you calling me personally on a cell phone. I mean, I've never really had anyone do that in the industry. I thought it was real important to come out here and meet you guys and make it happen.
That's cool, man. Isn't social media crazy and how people are connecting to like all these various niches that there are out there, and people reach out for help, and you can get that help in just so many different ways now. I mean, I still can't believe like we'd be connecting and you're on the other side of the nation pretty much. I mean, you're on the East Coast.
Yep.
And we're over here on the West Coast, so that's pretty great, man.
It's funny how all the, I want to say, old timers in the industry, I think they're finally catching on, but back home, when I'd say, yo, you gotta check out my work on Instagram, I get made fun of, oh, him and his YouTubes. They just don't really see it. I think everyone's starting to really catch on. I see it out here way more than in Florida, and maybe this is different from business to business, but the marketing on Instagram is way bigger over here and way more important, it seems. And yeah, it's definitely a tool that, at first I didn't think was going to really help. I just wanted to show off my work.
Mm-hmm.
Had friends of mine in the paper industry. I remember, oh, what's that for? To help get more work? And I was like, no, just to show off the work, really. But it's definitely helped show off what I'm capable of, and it's got me more work for sure. It's helped out tremendously.
Do you think prior to social media and things like that, were there other avenues as far as like marketing that you would try to tap into before even any of the social media stuff was around?
So being that I'm just a sub, when I was kind of the way it happened, me becoming a sub, the guys I was working for, it was funny. They said, oh, you're costing us too much money, we're going to help you start your own business. So they helped me actually become a sub. Didn't teach me much about general liability and insurance and all that, so kind of kicked out into the world to learn it on my own. But the Instagram was, like I said, just something so I can start a portfolio. That was my first form of advertisement of myself and my work, really. So pretty much the first platform I've ever been on or joined. I've always wanted to do YouTube or something, but like we were just talking earlier, the term influencer isn't really something that I don't look like that's a great term, maybe, but I mean, in general, we are influencing somebody, and we're definitely doing it in a good way. I would say we're both guys who are waking up every day, no matter what's going on, going to work, and expressing that to other people online, showing that, hey, we're motivated, we love what we do. And yeah, man, Instagram's a great platform to show that and really let people into your life.
Yeah, you made some really, really good points there. Especially, what if there's new people to the pool industry, especially if you're really new and you don't know a lot about anything as far as, either maintenance or plumbing or equipment. I mean, a lot of new people coming into the industry are wanting to get that information and that knowledge. And now with social media and all these platforms, that those resources seem to be a little bit more readily available. Do you see that being a thing where if you're stuck on something, you have those resources available so we can call out to people, for help and things like that?
Well, you've been one of the first that's helped me. I can remember the first time ever messing around with Unistrut and getting a hold of you on Instagram. You called me that day. I was sitting on the job in Clearwater Beach, and that's really when we really started connecting. And yeah, of course, I'm sure you have lots of people that reach out to you. I'm sure you've had, or like I've had, and a lot of us Florida boys, a lot of constructive criticism and stuff. And I hope we can all be nice out there.
Of course.
It's some things that we see so much, and I was talking to Justin about this. Everyone in Cali's, oh, you got to use sweeps. Things that are mandatory over here aren't mandatory over there. It's mandatory to spray paint the equipment, plumbing over here, not back home. One of the first things you said you noticed on my page that you grabbed your attention was I was plumbing a pool after the concrete shell got in shot.
Right.
Back home in Florida, we have sandy soil, rains a lot. You have to hurry up and get that concrete shell in the ground and then plumb it. You guys out here will dig the shell, steal it. Then someone comes in and plumbs the whole pool all at once. In shell plumbing, the therapy jets, main drains, etc. We just mainly do the spa jets and everything that's going to get shot inside the concrete first, and then once that shot forms or stripped, then someone comes in and does the pumping.
Yeah, I got you. I'm very amazed at all the different steps there are throughout the different parts of the world of how everybody does pools, especially with new pool construction. So yeah, that definitely grabbed my attention. Like you said, we're plumbing after the rebar guys are in, and when I seen your post, the shotcrete was already in place, and you're kind of picking up from the pipes that are protruding through the walls. I thought that was like pretty cool, actually.
Yeah.
But to backtrack a little bit, I know a little bit about your story on how you got into the pool industry. But for those listeners out there that don't know Beach Boy Pools in Austin, would you mind sharing how you got into swimming pools?
Yeah, man. I'll do a quick synopsis of who I am, where I come from. I'm 34, about to turn 35. 80s baby, born in '89. Only Florida born. My mom's from Tulsa, Oklahoma. Dad's from Syracuse, New York area. The only person in my family from Florida. Really proud of that. Love my state. Grew up with a dad as a home builder, so I've been immersed in construction my whole life. Told my dad when I was a kid I wanted to work smarter, not harder. Didn't want to work with my body and kill it. I was going to be an architect or an engineer. And so graduated high school, had some unforeseen things come up, got sick with leukemia actually. Came back at 22, had a bone marrow transplant. And to be honest, that was one of the best times in my life. I had met a beautiful Brazilian girl that stayed with me through that whole scary portion of my life. And shout out to Jess Fitzinella down in Brazil. I'll always love that girl. Special part in my heart. But things happen for a reason, I truly believe me getting sick young actually was a good thing. I stopped partying hard young, and once I lost my disability randomly, I had just taken a big month-long road trip. Actually, I felt like the government was watching me and said, hey, you're healthy, you need to get back to work. So I got into pool resurfacing through a friend of my dad, was shit scared, thought it was going to be the toughest thing in the world to mix cement.
Okay.
And mixing pool finish was a walk in the park. Picked it up, first couple pools. Started with a roughneck guy that I think a lot of type of people should work with to, get some cojones under him.
Right.
He was a real tough guy, and you knew what you were there to do. You had to get the work done. We actually mixed the pool finish, and I had to wheelbarrow it back, not like a lot of guys do nowadays with pumps and stuff. But it was a good start to the industry, getting into pool resurfacing. And then I wanted to grow more and do more challenging work, so I did find a builder eventually. About a year after being with him resurfacing, found a builder. And was definitely just thrown into the wolves, out to the wolves to learn everything. And that was good that I fell in with that particular builder. Won't mention who it was.
Right.
But it was good that at the time we were all kind of fresh in pool building. And I was, like I said, thrown out to the wolves to learn. I want to say the first pool I ever plumbed completely was one that I was helping with, the guy didn't show up the next day, and I finished it, which I was pretty proud of. But like the story I was telling you earlier, first time I ever ran a conduit line, I put like 8 sweeps in it. So we all make
Right.
mistakes and we learn, and that's another conversation we were talking about earlier. Is you really don't learn until you make mistakes. I mean, a lot of people go through life doing things perfect, I guess, but trial and tribulation. That's how I've learned through a lot of things.
Right. Yeah, man. That's what it's about, man. I mean, we're always gonna constantly be growing, learning. It's just the industry evolves so much, and we just gotta keep up with it, man.
Like your brother said, constantly learning.
Yep.
Student. What was it?
A forever student.
Forever student. Yeah.
And just to backtrack a little bit also on how you got into pools, you mentioned you were resurfacing. Was that interior resurfacing not part of any like demolition crews or anything like that before you would resurface? Because out here in this area, we're used to seeing existing interior pool finishes jackhammered out before we do the interior, or when.
Yeah, let's keep on the subject of things that are out here that aren't back home.
Yeah.
So over here, it's 100% pools get shipped out.
You know what? It's done two different ways that I've seen. They hydroblast.
Or chip.
Yeah. So
back home, I don't want to say we don't, because I got a friend back home who has a water blasting business.
Okay.
And he gets quite some work, and I made a post a couple of years ago actually about this, saying why don't we do full chip outs, or we should do more. And he probably does 15 a week, but there's a lot of bond coating and going layer over layer.
Okay.
And really it's whether the person probably wants to pay for it. I really haven't gotten to that point yet where I'm doing full remodels or builds, and that's the plan.
Right.
But I have friends, and I ask them, and that's their response usually, whether the person wants to pay.
Right.
You explain it. I mean, I've seen a lot of business done in Florida, though, where people, salespeople for big companies probably don't even mention that they could get shipped out, and it's probably not an option.
Okay.
First thing getting into pool resurfacing art, we were undercutting the tile. And not even really chipping 3 inches down, just an undercut, so the new pool finish could have somewhere to blend up in. But became a very good bond coater, and I would roll the bond coat on with a thick nap.
Right.
I was just talking to David, and he was asking if I sprayed it on. I see that, but with a nice thick nap, I get a nice good texture on it. But that's something I want to get away from, and if we're going to be rolling on something like that, it should be waterproofer, like a Basecrete.
Gotcha.
And
when you were doing those types of things with interior finishing, did you have any understanding of how to do anything with, like, as far as pool plumbing and things like that at that point?
I grew up with the dad as a general contractor. I forgot to give my dad a shout out.
Right.
Thank you, Mike Lacy, for teaching me everything I know. Probably the number one skill set I have is digging with a shovel.
Okay.
I love digging. But I grew up around all aspects of construction my whole life. Mechanics, construction. Mom got me into sports. Dad really couldn't even throw a spiral football, but he was the motorhead, and I've learned a lot from him, and I definitely got my work ethic from him. My mom could sleep till 2 in the afternoon. My dad's up every morning at 5 a.m.
Gotcha.
And so am I. I've got a biological alarm clock up no matter what I want to be.
So then you're going into interior finishes, and then eventually getting into pool plumbing. What was it like plumbing your first pool, like on your own, man? What was that feeling like? You got a project, they're reaching out to you, say, hey, Beach Boy Pools, can you guys plumb this pool for us? What was that feeling like of finally getting your first pool to
like
plumb?
On my own as a sub, or like being
as a sub?
As a sub, yeah. So I would say that time frame probably wasn't that exciting, because I went from plumbing for someone in-house to directly subcontracting to them, and they kind of held me down underneath their thumb quite a bit until I went and found other builders to work with me at my own price sheets, and it didn't last long. And I remember like it was yesterday, I told those guys, I said, you can have me forever if you give me what I want now, and they wanted to play hardball, so I found all the guys in Hillsborough County and never looked back. And that was a very rewarding feeling, though, going out and finding my own builders. First builder was Bill Moulter with Riviera Pools. He was a well-established builder for years. I met his project managers first. They liked me. Then I sat down with Bill. have a lot of respect for him. The company recently tried to sell, and it didn't work out. So, but I look up to him a lot, you know.
Right.
So finding my own company to go plumb for was probably what you were asking, that rewarding feeling. That was rewarding.
Okay.
And, you know, starting with a little Nissan hardbody,
Right.
buying a F-250. The world really judges you on that too. You get a nice truck, they really think you're doing good, which is great.
Right.
But I even think that helps, you know, showing up with a nice new truck that time and expressing what I know. Plumbed with Riviera for years and a lot of other Hillsborough County companies, and now that Riviera is gone, I'm plumbing for Gulfstream mainly.
Okay.
Which is Tim is now with Gulfstream with his brother Ted, and I look up to those guys a lot. So if anyone from back home is listening, Gulfstream Pools, Tim Strone, Ted Strone, I got a lot of respect for those guys and hope to be working for them for a while.
Well, that's great, man. I'm not too familiar with, you know, the Florida area, but what areas are you covering then on that side?
Mainly the Tampa Bay area. The Tampa Bay area consists of the counties surrounding the bay, which is Hillsborough County, Pinellas County, and Pasco's not directly connected to the bay, but geographically it's a very accessible area to get work done. You're about an hour to an hour and a half from everything, no matter what, in the Tampa area, whether you live in Tampa and want to go to the beach, or you live near the beach and want to go to Busch Garden, or your favorite restaurant is on Treasure Island and you live in Newport Richey. So I grew up in the heart of Tampa, and my dad moved us out towards Pinellas when I was halfway through high school. Hated him for the move at first. He said, "You're going to be a Tarpon Spring sponger," and I said, "What's a sponger?" But the move was probably the best thing that ever happened to me. Made great friends, and I wouldn't take it back to this day. I now live up in Newport Richey, and I'm trying to get into the middle of the state, Webster, so I can service the same area, but maybe even go north towards Orlando and the villages. So we'll see what the future holds.
Is that quite a distance away from where you're currently at, Orlando and all that?
So, like, compared to you, or like say the Phoenix area, I would think someone working in Phoenix still serves all of Scottsdale and the whole Tri-City area. You got Phoenix, Glendale, Scottsdale. Then over here you have, you know, Beaumont, Riverside. As far as someone really wants to go, you know what I mean? As you yourself is slowing down and wanting to do less plumbing and more automation, you're kind of shrinking how far you want to go, and that's good. I one day hope to be able to do that. And target like maybe just Pinellas. A lot of pool builders will do that. If they're Hillsborough County, they'll try and stay in Hillsborough. Pinellas, stay in Pinellas. But a lot of the big builders that are doing 300 a year are going all over, all three counties, and starting to go further north and south, because the Tampa area is growing, and as it grows, it's going in all three directions, north, south, and east.
Yeah, and I want it now, since you know, I've seen some of your posts, and obviously you know, tremendous work, but in the background I do notice like oceanfront views. What's it like plumbing pools that are so close to the ocean right there? Like when you're digging, are you coming across any obstacles and things like that?
Well, every post I make usually has hashtag working in paradise. It's paradise, but there's things. That's one thing, you know, we have real sandy soil. People have been there on that property maybe before you. This soil out here, you're probably not finding half-buried cars in the ground or old tires. Or I plumbed a pool once where I pulled like over 50 bottles of booze out of the ground, and they were from the 80s. I think someone was hiding a drinking problem from their wife.
Oh man, you got them caught.
I'm sure that happens out here, but when the soil is like rock hard and it's not it's virgin soil and never been dug up, you're probably not going to find random stuff in your soil. You find arrowheads, all sorts of stuff.
I don't think I've never found anything. I mean, I've only ran into like some old school like septic tanks right where the pool's gonna go, but nothing crazier than that.
A lot of tree roots. I mean, you can tell obviously when you got a tree right next to the pool, they're gonna have a problem, and that always stinks when no one before you really thinks of that. They're like, just go around it, or, you know, stuff we have to deal with.
some of the areas, like we're close to what you call Inland Empire.
Yeah.
So this part of Southern California, there's a lot of rocky areas. I haven't personally ran into ginormous boulders, but that I
Well, I
have
bet that
heard.
could happen out here. I get, yeah, you're
Yeah.
digging a trench and you literally have to dynamite a rock or something.
Exactly.
Huh?
That's happened. I've never done it personally or seen it, but I have heard from, friends, other friends in the industry that I talk to.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, other than just like, unearthing the things that people are hiding, that's pretty much.
Unfortunately, Florida is not. We do a bad job at caring about what's in the ground. Sometimes there's stories I've heard of people finding things that should get jobs shut down and stopped
Right.
until it's archaeologists coming or something. But yeah, they try and keep things moving down there.
Heck, yeah, that's cool, man. Like I said, it's amazing to see all the different things that, pool plumbers and everybody doing pools run
Yeah,
into.
something about Instagram and people doing things in different areas. When I first plumbed my first pool or did my first equipment set, I was like, how do I make this thing clean? How do I do? And I started looking for inspiration because when I was a kid, I remember trying to be good at roller
Right.
skating, and my dad's buddy was like, just look at the guy next to you and see how he's doing it. So
Right.
Instagram really helped with that, with looking at you guys out here in Arizona and California, an area of the United States where they really implement clean work. I mean, it is really important out here, and same thing with the guys in Australia. They have a really strong work ethic over there for good, clean work. And not saying the work back home isn't good. We definitely have
Right.
some good plumbers, and definitely some in the Tampa Bay area.
Right.
And I'm hoping that's something I can do. Is interject, just better work, better craftsmanship. A lot of companies out there really just don't care what the plumbing looks like underground. If it works, it works.
Right.
It's getting covered up with dirt. That's their mentality.
Yeah.
I want that mentality to change big time.
Right. Yeah, I've always said it's a shame that our work as pool plumbers gets buried because, there are those that are just making it really look really nice and taking pride in their work, and it's just a shame that it gets buried, right?
If
Like
something looks good, it's usually built
Yeah.
well, right?
Right.
If you got a welder and he's welding, you can tell if he's stacking dimes or if he's a shitty welder.
Right.
You can grind it and smooth out the welds and paint it and make it look good. But I was thinking about this the other day. If someone is okay with the plumbing of the pool looking like crap or being plumbed crap or just slapped together, that's like a human body. The inside. You're eating junk food and you don't care what's on the inside, just what looks good on the outside. So if your pool looks great in the end and it's functioning, but the plumbing was done shitty, it might blow apart in 5 years when it could last for 35 to 40.
Gotcha.
That's my mentality.
Right.
It's like, just because it looks good on the outside, what's really underneath, And
Right.
I want homeowners to have schematics and fine detailed photos of the plumbing, so when they have work done in the future, they know what's in the ground and they're also proud of it too.
Right. Right.
I don't think anyone has a pool built and really knows whether they're getting a good equipment set unless they're versed in construction and stuff. But your average person, I think, I've always thought about this, can see shoddy work. When you go to the bathroom at a gas station and the tile work is so crappy compared to a nice restaurant,
Right.
and you're looking at the tile work in a restaurant, this is what happens when you're in construction.
Right.
It sickens you. You can't go anywhere without looking at the quality of work on something. I mean, now that we're in swimming pools, I don't think I've ever touched a pool now and not thought about every little detail that I swam in. It changed you.
You know what I've noticed now that social media is kind of getting a little bit, becoming a place where you could turn into your portfolio. Knowing that, I feel like there's a lot of people starting to kind of, showcase their best quality work now. So
How do you separate yourself?
yeah. And on the topic of pool equipment, what are some of the I guess I could say more popular brands that you're installing out there for your
It's
projects?
probably 90% Pentair. One of my high-end builders only uses Jandy.
Okay.
Done some pools for fiberglass builders. They'll use real cheap equipment. We've been working on a lot of Hayward out here, and we brought that up. We talked about how there's not really too much Hayward back home. Florida is known for mixing up, I actually install Hayward valves for a builder.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why they like Hayward valves. Maybe it's a couple dollars cheaper each valve. I'm not sure. During the pandemic, we were plumbing with whatever we could get. We'd have a Pentair pump, Janney filter, Aqua Cal heater, with the cheapest ball valves you can get. So the supply chain's back.
Right.
Builders can get whatever. I install whatever they want. I get a lot of comments on, oh, that filter's real small, or this or that, or use this different salt cell. And I reply politely, I don't pick the equipment, I just install it.
Okay.
Make sure I try and install it correctly. And we all have our opinions on that.
Right.
Sometimes some things are black and blue, some things are just the way people like to do things.
Is colored lighting also kind of turning into like more LED strips and accenting staircases and things like that? I've seen some of the posts where there's some of these pools that have like insane lighting, color changing lighting all over the place.
Everyone's getting into that. The high end builders like Ryan, Lucas, all your guys, that are selling pools to people that have the money to spend. And then I follow a lot of your guys out here. Calamingo, he was just doing a video of showing off his what he calls halo lighting, and that's one thing I was asking David and Justin and you, like, where do you guys see pools coming in the future going? Because materials can only go so far, color selections and combinations, and I think we all kind of agree technology is it's going to keep improving and taking the pool experience to the next level.
Yeah, I agree, man. I agree. Technology it's just, we got to keep up with it, man. It's becoming so versatile as far as what a homeowner can do with their own pool equipment, and they don't even have to be home to use it now. It's amazing. I was going to ask too, on the topic of new construction, what are some of the what are the inspectors looking for when it's your turn to get in there and start plumbing? What are you getting ready, and what are the inspectors looking for inspection?
Don't want to badmouth anybody, but inspectors, I think even out here, will come out and inspect the work, look at it for 2 seconds, and walk away.
Oh, okay.
It's hit or miss, I don't get to make friends with a lot of them. I don't really even call in most of my inspections. I let the builders that I work for do it. As long as it's holding, I've failed very few inspections. I'm really OCD about my work. I'm there the next morning on every job, no matter how busy I am, making sure that system's holding. Can't tell you how many times I've plumbed a pool and I'm leaving at 10 p.m. and back at 5 a.m. to make sure that it's good, so I can stay on schedule and get to the next one. So 2 counties that I work in are Open Ditch, Pinellas, and Pasco, Hillsborough County. I can inspect my work, and as long as it's holding, I can cover it. I personally like when it's an Open Ditch inspection. Even if I check my work over and over and over, I could still have possibly a pinhole leak. So the fact that if it's in Open Ditch and it sits for a day or two, I can find out if it's really dropping, if it's temperature making it drop, if it's or if it's actually a pinhole. The worst is when the guy's shooting our pool, since we have a lot of pre-shot plumbing done. Our main drains are put in, and then once the shell shot, I take it over. I've definitely plumbed some pools where the plumbing before me doesn't hold, so I have to drain the groundwater in the pool, go down there to the main drain pot and take the plug out, re-Teflon tape it, which maybe even as I say all this, you probably might not know what I'm talking about, because I noticed you guys, maybe not all builders, but some builders out here don't use main drain pots. It's just a big pipe coming out through the shell with a cap on it, so that's obviously a lot easier to hold pressure. And you guys also don't have a lot of groundwater here, so when I was saying if I have to pressure up a pool and it's dropping pressure, and it could be one of those threaded plugs on the main drain pot, that's a big hassle for us to have to drain the water, go down there and re-thread the plug. And the reason why this probably happens is because the main drains only have to pass a static pressure test, where you plumb the main drain, you stick up a pipe, and you fill it up with water, and that'll pass. But what happens when I pressure it up to 40 pounds?
Right.
That threaded plug might not be holding. There might be a leak on the glue joint. Who knows? I personally believe if it's being shot over, you need to pressure. If I'm going to pressure up to it eventually, why just do a static test? Pressure that main drain line up. You're pressuring the spa jet system, but not the spa main drain. There's one builder, the highest end builder I plumb for. They will plumb everything out, stub it up, connect everything. So like your spa manifold is not just the jets getting pressured, it's the jets, the airline,
Yep.
the spa main drain, the spa return.
Right.
Everything involved with the spa gets a temporary manifold and gets pressured.
Okay.
And I want every builder to do
Yeah.
that, you know?
You know that I mean, you have a point. I mean, why wouldn't you want to pressurize it, right? Well, we're cutting it a little bit short on time here, but
Yeah, I could talk to you, Ralph, for ages, man.
well, for those listeners again out there, if anybody wanted to get a hold of a pool plumber in the Tampa Bay area, Tampa, Florida area, how can they reach out to you, and how can they get a hold of you, man?
Instagram, Facebook, Beach Boy Pools, email, beachboypools@gmail.com. Just a subcontract at the moment. Future plans are to build full projects. I've always wanted to build and design, and I kind of got stuck in a rut, and this trip really helped me think about what my future plans are going to be and the services I offer. You know, what do I want to do in life?
That's awesome, man. That's awesome, man. And I want to say, man, it was a real pleasure actually getting to meet you in person. I had a really good time showing you around the projects, introducing you to, our friends, very close friends that work with pools out here. David over at Dynamic. It was a real pleasure, man, and I hope nothing but success for you. I hope you have a safe, enjoyable trip back home. And yeah, you already know how to reach out to me. Also, we'll stay in contact.
Well, I believe I just made a lifelong friend, buddy.
Of course, man. Of course, man. So there you guys have it, you guys. That's Austin again, Lacy with Beach Boy Pools. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode of the We Are Pools podcast, and that this is why this is called We Are Pools. We're professionals getting together.
Living the industry.
Exactly, sharing the stories, keeping positive vibes, uplifting everybody. So that's what it's about. So don't forget to subscribe to the channel, guys. Share this, like it, and
come see Ralph in person.
Sounds good. And as we're getting closer to the holidays and Christmas is just around the corner, this is December 22nd, 2023. Happy holidays to everybody out there. And again, thank you for all the support. Thanks everyone for tuning in. Just thank you everybody, and hope everybody has good time with their friends, families, and loved ones during the holidays.
Merry Christmas.
With that being said, we'll see you guys on the next one.